What can you say about English? Is English difficult or easy? My friends, I want to say that English isn't so difficult, and I also want to say that English isn't so easy for me. Of course, my big dream is to understand native speakers. Really. I want to communicate with people who live in other countries, for example, England, the United States, or maybe Spain, Italy, China, different countries. And if we look at my English level, which I have now, I can't say that it's very high. I think it's elementary, or maybe a bit higher, elementary or pre-intermediate. I can speak English. I know some English grammar, but I also have problems with writing, reading, and speaking too, and grammar, of course. So I can say what I want, but I sometimes make mistakes, and I don't really like it. I don't want to make mistakes. I want to speak English correctly and fluently. You know, some people say that if we make mistakes, it's terrible, and if we do it, so we shouldn't speak English at all. I disagree with these people. As for me, I have another opinion. I believe that no matter how many mistakes we make, we need to continue. We need to continue speaking English. If we make mistakes, we can see them, we can improve the situation, we can work on our mistakes, and our English will be better day by day. Really, it will be better step by step, and it's wonderful. So, I know that so many school children, right, especially school children, are afraid of making mistakes because their teacher can say, for example, "You are wrong, it isn't right," or "Don't be so stupid." I think that this method is wrong. It's fundamentally wrong. We can't do it. It's a very big mistake in teaching. I believe that we need to speak English for communication first of all. If I say something in English, maybe wrongly or incorrectly, I know it isn't so good, but if other people understand me, it's great. So they can understand me and I can understand them, so it's wonderful. It's the main aim of our communication, and so if it becomes possible, I can say, yes, I achieved my aim, I did it. And when we have more and more practice, so our mistakes will be disappearing. Right, my friends, so the first tip or the first recommendation, is the following. Don't be afraid of making mistakes. You know, I'm an English teacher, and to tell the truth, I've been teaching English for a very long time, really for so many years, so it's maybe difficult for you to imagine. I suppose for about 15 years or more, but if we look at this situation, some people say, oh, I've been teaching English for a year or 5 years. I think that basically it matters really nothing, because it doesn't mean, or it doesn't matter how many years he or she has been teaching English. The main thing is how you do it, how intensively you do it. Okay, let me give you another example. Okay, I have a question for you. How long have you been learning English? And you may say, oh, I've been learning English for a very long time, since my childhood, or since I maybe was in the third form or in the third form, maybe since I was 6, 7, or I started doing it at school. So these answers are quite predictable. I mean that people have been learning English for a very long time. Okay, it's good. And so the second question is, what's your English level now? And I often hear, oh, you know that I tried to learn English intensively, but without success, so the system of education wasn't good enough, and I had different problems, and my level is lower than intermediate, maybe elementary or so. So what happens in reality? What do we see? And we see the following. So many years are spent on learning English ineffectively, without any result at all, or without any good results at all. You know, it isn't so good. It isn't so good. And if you ask me about my way of teaching English, I can say the following. I can, learn English for years, or I can teach English for years. But if we look at my situation, we look at my personal experience, I can give 1 lesson a day, or I can give 10 lessons a day. I can, teach mostly beginners, or I can teach mostly intermediate and advanced students. And these two situations are completely different. So really, it doesn't matter how many years you spent on English. What really matters is actually how many hours you spent on it. Okay, maybe I need to clarify my point. Okay, the second question for you, maybe the third one, will be the following. How often do you learn English? And you can say, I do it twice a week, or I do it 3 times a week. Okay, but actually this answer isn't so precise. You need to be more exact, you need to give more details. So if you say that you learn English twice or 3 times a week, it can mean that you do it just 3 days a week, and maybe you can spend on it an hour or half an hour, and I don't see actually the time you spent on it in hours. So how many hours? I think that we really often hear this question, how often do you learn English? How long have you been learning English? And the answer is, so I've been doing it for such a long time, or I've been doing it since my childhood, and so on. No. If we really want to improve the situation, we need to know real facts. Really, give me real facts and answer this question. How many hours? Not time in general, because time is such a broad notion. So how many hours do you spend on English daily? And if you don't do it daily, or if it's difficult for you to calculate it, how many hours do you spend on English a week? A week. So 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours. And if you do it, if you answer this question this way, it will be much better. Really. Okay, let's get back to the previous answer. So the question was, and the previous question, the question was, how many times or how often do you learn English? And if you say that I learn English 3 times a week, yeah, but one person can say I do it 3 times a week, and I normally spend on English 30 minutes or half an hour a day, and I don't think that it's so much, really. To be honest, it isn't so much. Maybe it's enough to have a certain level, but it isn't enough to make real progress. You need to spend much more time on English. And you see, my friend, so if you answer, for example, I learn English 3 times a week, and I spend 2 or 3 hours a day on it, it means another thing. Okay, and you know, there is one very famous concept or theory, you can call it another way, that if you really want to become a master in a certain subject, it doesn't mean that it's only English, it can be another subject, it doesn't really matter. You need to spend about 10,000 hours on it. 10,000 hours on it. If you really want to become a master, and if we take our situation into account, so if you want to have a strong advanced level in English, you need to spend at least 10,000 hours a day. Yeah, but I want to add one more thing, that you need to use the right method or the right methodology, because I know so many examples when people learn English for hours, and maybe they spend much more than this actually amount of time. I mean, more than 10,000 hours on English, but they are still, facing so many problems. They're still making so many mistakes that it's really terrible. Okay, so I think that it's the best answer. And it also depends on other factors and on other reasons. Really, what's the reason for learning English? Why do you learn English? If you want to know English just for basic communication, hi, how are you, what did you do yesterday, you need to spend less time. It goes without saying. Yes, I absolutely agree with you. But if you're really serious about learning English, you need to be much more hardworking, and you need to train more regularly and more intensively. And there is a widespread belief that it's better to train your memory and to train, when it also comes to learning English, every day, or as they say it, daily, and at least 1 hour or 2 hours a day. People often ask me, how long will I need, or how long will it take me to reach an intermediate level? And to your surprise, or to someone's surprise, I can say that it's possible to do it in 3 months, or maybe in 4 months, or so maximum in half a year, if you really continue learning English very intensively. So the biggest mistake so many students make is that they do it but they don't do it intensively. But our memory works in such a way that if you start doing it more intensively, you'll have amazing results. Amazing results. Okay, and when you hear it, certainly you have some doubts and you don't understand how it really works, how it works in reality. And you start thinking about your duties, cares, about your constant lack of time, that you don't have free time at all. Yeah, these problems are quite familiar, so we all have them. But these things actually are about one more skill that you need to have: your time management. If you start managing your time more wisely, more effectively, you have this time. And I remember my time when I was learning English very intensively and effectively, so I didn't have free time at all. But anyway, I managed to succeed in learning English and in getting, I would say, the highest qualifications. Yeah, when it comes to teaching English, and I'm so happy that I managed to do it. Really, it was an unforgettable experience, and really it brings back very happy memories. I know that it's difficult to study hard, it's difficult really to find the best way, but when you do it, it will bear fruit in the end, and it's really amazing. It's really amazing. You need to manage your time better. Yeah, first of all, my friend, focus on grammar. I know that so many teachers, maybe people, think that it's unimportant. I don't think so. Really, you need to build your confidence. You need to speak English with more confidence, and you need to be sure, really, that you speak English correctly, or maybe you make some occasional mistakes, but it's just sometimes, and you work on them, and so you can make fewer and fewer mistakes, and it's possible, really, is the main thing. So start with grammar. It's the most important thing. So when you are able to build different phrases in English correctly, and you understand how you do it. So there is another way when you memorize everything, when you try to remember everything by heart, and when you ask these questions: so what's your name, how you, and when you don't understand how these sentences are built. So it isn't such a good way of learning English, really. I believe that, yeah, first of all, focus on grammar, build your confidence, and you need to understand how to say everything in these three different tenses. So present, past, future. Right. And when you continue working on your grammar, yeah, don't waste time. Don't think that you'll need maybe to spend 2 years on learning grammar, or 3 years on it, and then you start listening to English. No, do everything at the same time. So if you have half an hour a day, you can spend it on grammar, and when you are walking in the park, you can listen to something in English. You can listen to these grammar lessons again in order to revise them, or you can listen to other materials, real conversations, and so on. So, there is one more mistake which so many people have. They think that they can only learn English if they move to an English speaking country, but it isn't so. So, by the way, we live in the 21st century, and Actually, this time is justly considered to be the era of technology and instant communication. So actually, you have instant access to so many resources available where you can learn English absolutely for free and you don't need to pay. So really, when I was studying English, maybe at school, I couldn't find any native speakers or I couldn't listen to their authentic speech, but you can do it. You can listen to native speakers or non-native speakers of English, it doesn't matter. Right. Okay, so just do it, and you need to surround yourself actually with this, English atmosphere when you read in English, right? So if you want to start reading in English, you don't need to start it, by reading something in the original Shakespeare or Oscar Wilde. No, my friends, start reading, some simple books, some simple materials for, beginner level, elementary. Alright, so if you want to listen to English more and more, you don't need to listen to native speakers of English. No, my friends, it will be too difficult for you and you'll get very frustrated and disappointed. So, and it will put you off. Yeah, it will put you off and it can cause some kind of barrier and a feeling of dissatisfaction. Right, so you need to do actually the following. You need to take all these steps. So work on your grammar, but not only theory, but practice. So grammar practice is in the first place. Simple grammar exercises. Secondly, you need to listen a lot. And I also believe that you need to listen a lot, not just an hour a day, but much more. Because when you do different things about the house, you can listen to English when you cook, when you eat, when you move. So it's possible, and really, it's a huge amount of time. So you need to listen a lot, and listening is more important than grammar. Maybe not more important, but you can find more time for listening. Really, you're so busy, and as I already said, you're such a busy person, and you don't have time for, maybe sitting on a chair. It doesn't matter what kind of chair it is, soft chair or not, so you're very busy. Really, and you move to this place or to that place and back. And the second thing is that it's difficult to do it just psychologically, to sit in one place without any kind of movement. So yeah, do it. And you can find this time for grammar, for doing exercises, but actually the most part of the time you spend in movement, when you move, and you see that you can listen to different materials, conversations, grammar lessons again for revision, and it will be perfect. And don't forget about reading. I've read a lot in my life, different books in different languages, and don't ignore this thing. But one of the greatest mistakes people make is that they try to start reading something very difficult. No, my friend, don't do it. As it's already been said, start reading something simple and good, for your level. And I remember at the time when my level was advanced or upper intermediate or close to an advanced level, and I was still reading simple books, elementary, pre-intermediate. I was still listening to simple text just for revision, just to make sure that I knew all those grammar structures, all those expressions, and it was, like a new world for me. and I was so happy that I was doing everything step by step. Right. And right, yeah, can mean two things. Right, when you say, okay, it's okay, and right, when you write something maybe on paper. Yeah, and so it's time we started talking about writing, and I also think that it's important. And I believe that you have some plans for today and for tomorrow and for next week and so on. We can continue this list. And it would be extremely useful if you took some notes in English. You can write your ideas in English on paper, and it would be great, really. Try to practice your writing skills, try to record your ideas and to see them on paper soon. Yeah, and so there is one more thing to add, last but not least. When you walk maybe around the house, or when you walk in the park, or when you go somewhere, so you can listen to something or someone. That's great, it's a brilliant idea, but don't forget to follow one more tip, which is also of great importance. What I mean is that you can have a rest, or maybe you want to think about your plans. Okay, do it in English. Try to do everything in English, right? So maybe you have some problems and you think in your own language, oh, I have some problems, what do I need to solve these problems? It's so difficult, maybe I need to do this thing, maybe I need to do that thing, and you think, oh, maybe I made a mistake, or then you, I believe, start thinking about money, maybe about your relationships with friends, and so on. Okay, just do it in English. Yeah, it's a very important step. It's a very important step to English proficiency and fluency. You don't need to use very complicated expressions or very difficult expressions, phrases, words. You just need to express your ideas, and if you do it using simple words, it's a victory. It's a great victory, and don't stop. Do it every day. My friends, people often ask me, how do you do it? How do you find time for everything what you do in your life? I mean, not only recording videos, it's difficult, but I try to actually value the time which I have. Our life, is the greatest gift which we have. It's a great present for us, really. And I understand that time is very short. So I have actually, if I look at the time of my life, so less and less time. And it means that I need to be more and more active. I need to hurry up to do something useful for me and for other people. And so it gives me more and more motivation. So think about the time which you have. And I don't know why it happens, but we all understand that we have a certain limit of time, because so we aren't people who don't have a body. So we have a body, and so we will have an end sometime, and we need to be ready for this end. But for some people it's an end, and that's it. But some people say that it's just the beginning of a new life, because our soul is immortal, so our soul never dies. And this time is a very special time, and we have such a unique opportunity to enrich our knowledge of English, as well as enriching our soul. I mean that we need to value time because it flies, we can't turn it back. And the motto of my life, or really there is one expression which has become the motto of my life: hurry up to do more and more good things in life. It's the motto of my life. It just a certain expression which I try to follow, or which I try to remember quite regularly. It gives me a special wave of energy and enthusiasm and encouragement. Yeah, that's great, my friends. And really, you have time, you have your talents, and don't waste your time on silly or stupid things, unnecessary things, because this time will pass very quickly and you can be sorry about that. Try to invest your time in good things. Try to invest your time in knowledge, in good things, in developing your talents, abilities, so that you can use them. You can use your talents, your abilities, and it would be great. It's never too late to do it. And I was a very lazy person, and I was spending my time very irrationally and ineffectively, and I was doing so many crazy things, and maybe things which can't be called so good at all. But then I came to the conclusion, and the conclusion was the following: okay, stop wasting time. Stop wasting time. You need to change yourself. You need to actually have a new aim. You need to have new aims. You need to do something in your life. And when you learn English, you experience a very positive feeling that you can do it. You have a sense of achievement, that you can achieve something. And this energy is very positive, my friend. And I don't know why it happens, but I often hear different excuses when people say, "Or I'm not maybe very smart, or I'm not good at it, or that's not for me, or actually I tried but I failed." My friends, please get all these ideas out of your mind. Really, it isn't so. You're very smart, you're very talented, you are full of different maybe talents which you don't actually recognize now, but you have them. So you have a good memory, but maybe you actually didn't train it so intensively. So you're a very talented person. And it doesn't matter how old you are, it doesn't matter how much money you have in your pocket. It really it's really rubbish. Yeah. So I don't really understand why people idolize money so often, and they put it on a pedestal. No, I think that it's a means maybe of survival. We can buy and sell different goods with the help of money, but we shouldn't put it in the first place. It's a very, very big mistake. So we can't judge other people by having little money, or maybe by having millions of dollars, euros, whatever. No, I think that we should have another view. And my idea is that we need to focus on material things to a certain extent. So when it can help us maybe actually have a stable income and a actually to actually bring money for our family, things like this one, but it isn't in the first place. And my friends, I'm so happy that you are here, that you don't stop, you continue, and maybe it's difficult to talk, for a long time, but it's also an example of a very good practice. You can record yourself. Right. Maybe you have this task for today. Try to speak about learning English for, let's say, for a minute or 2 minutes without your mother tongue. So only English, 2 minutes or 3 minutes. For example, let's talk about English, and you can say, I started learning English a long time ago, and then you make a pause. Okay, you made a pause, but then continue, and you have 3 minutes, continue, and then you can try it again and again, and you can record your speech. So my speech isn't perfect. I know, I wouldn't like to deny this fact, but it's just an idea, it's just an example for you, my friends, that you can also do it, and it's an important step. So, right, record your speech and do it more often. You can also listen to it, and you can also compare your results, and it can help you improve your speech greatly and boost your speaking skills. Some people say, or people often say, that grammar isn't important. Right. Speaking is in the first place. But if you want to speak English confidently, correctly, spontaneously, naturally, like a native speaker, or even better, let's say like an educated native speaker, you need to know grammar. You can't do without it. Okay? So you need to speak, and you need to realize that your English speech isn't full of foolish mistakes. And if it's so, it's a great step forward. So it's a real victory for you. My friends, thank you for your time, and really I was absolutely delighted to hear from you. And you're so hardworking, you're so busy, you have so many problems in your life. But despite these facts, despite all these difficulties, you continue, and you actually continue learning English. You continue finding time for it, and really, I have no words to express my deep admiration. And really, it's your big success. It's a huge success on your side. And it's amazing. And if you believe in yourself, that's great. You just need to do more exercises, you just need to have more training, and this confidence will be growing day by day. My friends, I suppose that this level wasn't so high for you, and you could understand the main meaning or the main message of my speech. And I want to wish you all the best, not only in English but in your life. Really, I want you to be really happy. I want you to be truly happy. And I don't want you to spend your life on things which you'll regret later. I want you to develop your talents and raise them to the top. I want you to be happy, not only in terms of material things, because it's so unstable. So I want you to be happy in terms of spiritual things, because when you are happy inside, when you have peace inside you, in your heart, so all the world is actually another thing for you. You see it in positive colors, you see it in a positive way. So, okay, my friend, thank you very much. I wish you all the best, and just continue. You're on the right way, and we all make mistakes. I also make mistakes. I've made so many mistakes in my life, but as I told you, one day I understood that's enough. I want to change myself, and so I tried to do it, and I'm still trying to do it, to change myself. I'm still trying to be better, and this is a constant battle in our heart, which never ends, but which helps us be much better, which helps us be much better people and develop our virtues. Really, people often talk about bad habits, so like smoking, drinking, but I believe that we should also think about good habits. We call them virtues in English, virtues. So good habits. What good habits can we have? It's also important, and it's difficult to be indifferent in our modern world when so many people have problems. And first of all, I believe that I need to start working on myself, and I'll try to do it. My friend, thank you very much. If you have any kind of questions, feel free to contact me, and I suppose that this experience was absolutely amazing. My friend, thank you very much, and my congratulations, my sincere congratulations that you are doing it pretty well, that you are improving your English, and that you're a real workaholic. Okay, goodbye, my friends. See you soon, real workaholics. See you. Bye bye.